Codependency is the term for someone who gallantly sacrifices themselves for what they consider a greater cause. History has been littered with noble stories of self-sacrifice. Captain Oates in the death throes of Scott's South Pole expedition. The altruistic suicide missions of the Japanese kamikaze pilots. This isn't one of them. The polar opposite. This is the true story of a man who blew himself up over a juvenile cow. Yes, really. And he made a bloody good job of it. Let's go back to 1902 and Murchison, close to Nelson at the top of the South Island. Just outside the town of Murchison is Mangles Valley, home to a dozen or so farms. The name of the valley would prove very prophetic given what happened. Farming neighbours down the Mangles Valley at the time were Joseph Sewell and Walter Neame. Both those photos, by the way, are generic. No one seems to have a snap of the real chaps. Quickly acquaint yourself with the valley. To further paint a picture, Sewell was in his late 50s and Neame in his early 50s. Too old to be involved in this sort of dispute, one would have thought. They shared one common trait that wouldn't help either of them resolve their issues: stubbornness. They hated each other's guts even before they got to bickering over the ownership of a cow. Those were the times when cattle roamed freely, fences were limited, and the river down Mangles Valley acted as a natural boundary separating the two farms. That's the river on your screen. One day, as the story goes, Neame steers across the stream, and what does he spot? A heifer that to him looks very familiar. He is sure in his mind, and has notes applicable in a book, that particular bovine is his. So he fronts up to Sewell with those allegations, and he goes off like a rocket. The respective families then get involved, and for good measure the neighbours took sides as well. Down at Downey's pub in Murchison, and over the housewives' cups of teas, the event had legs of its own and was getting out of control. To the point in 1903, the local police inspector, Wilson, thought it was time to have a talk to the two protagonists, try and calm things down, Sewell and Neame. He designated the duty of trying to stifle tensions to Constable Scott. The police, though, had little room to manoeuvre here. This was essentially a civil matter, and if heated words were a crime, then they would be forced to arrest half the district. Scott had a quiet chat to both of them, and the families as well, to try and tone things down a bit, which if anything got Sewell more outrage, as he believed it was Neame who was responsible for the police knocking at his door. 3 years after it started, Neame took things legal. Sewell then countered, and a court date, the 14th of July 1905, was allocated. The date was important. Winter time in Tasman, and the people were appropriately rugged up. Judge Kendrick was on the bench at the Murchison court that day. That's the place. This would be the first, and as it would transpire, last case that Friday. The court was packed with nosy neighbours wanting to see how this ongoing, long-running disagreement plays out. Akin to a bad wedding, both sides gladly kept their allocated seats on either side of the room. Officers Wilson and Scott were also in attendance to keep an eye on proceedings. Neither party bothered to lawyer up and represented themselves. Walter Neame started addressing the judge with his side of the story, and was almost immediately greeted with mutterings and interjections from a clearly agitated Joseph Sewell. Now, amongst his ramblings, he broached the spectre Neame had murdered his wife, who had died 2 years earlier. Then he wanted everyone to know,
"Why is he telling so many blasted lies? There's no sense talking. I've been humbugged with this damn fellow for 17 years. He will be eating my eggs next time. I'm going to blow the devil to hell, and I have enough dynamite to do it.
This was an oh shit moment for many in the court, who caught eye of his bulky attire, even for that time of the year. More worryingly, his left hand was firmly placed unflinchingly into his left pocket. Inspector Wilson saw how this one could unfold, and he scooted up to the bench and whispered words to the effect to the judge. Psst, I wouldn't put it past him to be a walking time bomb. Let's get everyone out of here and let's establish what his intentions are. Judge Kendrick instructed all those in the court they were taking a break, and he addressed Sewell to calm down, go outside and take a few deep breaths. Inspector Wilson and Constable Scott meanwhile saw it as an opportunity to now jump Sewell in case he was good to back up his dynamite rant. On the way outside, as the two camps went their different ways, Sewell spotted Wilson and Scott about to pounce. He told Wilson to back off as he didn't want to hurt him. Then, up from inside his jacket, he produced a single stick of dynamite, proclaimed he had another 15 wrapped around his middle. Panic ensued. People began scattering. In the chaos, Wilson saw his opportunity to subdue Sewell. He got within a metre of him and... Come on, don't act surprised. You bloody well knew it was coming from the title. No, it wasn't spontaneous human combustion. Let it be noted that fate is a distinct possibility for viewers that aren't subscribers to this channel. There was little to nothing left of him. What there was relocated about the town. Wilson got a serious wound to his head, but he later recovered. One of Sewell's supporters lost an eye and sued the government for compensation in those pre-ACC days. The explosion was such, clothes were literally blown off people and beds were singed off faces. A dozen or so bystanders went to hospital with burns. Neem wasn't one of them. Miraculously, given the size and ferocity of the explosion, just one person died. You know who. That after an argument over a cow that festered and spiralled out of control. I said at the beginning I was unable to find a photo of either bloke. You and me will have to do with this. Sewell's grave. If you are now at a loss for something else to eyeball on YouTube, what about the No Town robbery, which still today, when it equates in modern moolah, pun intended, remains New Zealand's largest robbery. There's a link below in the description. I hope you enjoyed today's instalment of Interesting Things. You will see fit to suggest it to a mate that you've spotted this cool channel on YouTube. Okay, it's not this one. God loves a trier. Spot you next time. Bye for now.